Afternoon, everyone. Mithril is a dual-listed Australian and TSXV company, and we're focused on our Copalkin district-scale property project in the Sierra Madre Trend of Durango State in Mexico. So we're building a high-margin business there. We've done quite a lot of drilling there over the last few years. We've already defined a very high-grade resource at the first target area. And what's notable about this is the gold grades relative to the silver are particularly high in this particular property. Myself, I've been working in Mexico for over 20 years now in this region, and had some significant successes there. Most notable would be the Palmarejo deposit that was with an Australian company called Bolnisi Gold, and we were taken over by Core Mining in 2007 for over $1 billion, and that we quickly defined a 3 million ounce gold equivalent resource there, more silver rich, and we were halfway through construction there when we had some bigger companies wanting to take us over. That became Core's flagship property for many years, and that has grown now to about 5 million ounces of gold and 300 million ounces of silver in production and what they have in reserves and resources. So when we saw this Copalkin district property, we saw the same geology, the same regional setting. The difference here is there was quite a bit more historic mining activity, and there was also the gold grades quite a bit higher relative to the silver. So it's a silver district, but with high-grade gold. Snapshot of the company. So we're dual listed, as I mentioned, on the ASX and the TSXV. We had the TSXV listing for about 18 months now, and we're just gradually building the presence there. I'm based in Vancouver. I was in Melbourne, Australia before that. And notably with our shareholder structure, we've got about 41% of our stock is held by global mining institutions, and the top 100 owns about 83%. So we've got good shareholders that believe in the long-term prospects of this, and we're building a technically driven district-scale property. So board and management, we have a good mix of disciplines that cover our whole, all the aspects of running this type of business, and good advisors on the technical and the corporate front. So just where we are, we've got two properties very close together. The flagship property is Copalkin, that's in the northwest of Durango State. Quite a lot of activity around us, and as you probably know, Mexico produces about 25% of the global silver output each year, and it's a great place to be progressing a gold-silver property. So this is a view of the district. It's about 70 square kilometers. It's 7 kilometers north-south, 10 kilometers east-west. We flew LiDAR over the district in early 2024. We always knew there were about 60 historic mines and workings across the district, but what was the most notable out of that was that there was actually 100 historic underground mines. There were 7 mine shafts, and there's also a couple of hundred surface workings across the district. So all those dots there are all the historic mines that we picked up. First mining was about 1850, and we've been able to go into most of those underground workings and take high-quality diamond rock soil channel samples. We've put up a big geologic picture there, done a lot of mapping there, and we can see that this is a very big epithermal gold-silver system. So it's about 9 kilometers across diagonally, and the vertical relief there is over 1,200 meters. So it's a big, well-preserved epithermal gold-silver system. And all those surface workings, underground workings that are there, it's just noise to a much bigger plumbing system that's responsible for that widespread gold and silver. So it is a big epithermal gold-silver system. These are some of the drill highlights on the first target area, where we have the high-grade resource. As you can see there, there's a very good sort of widths there, very high grade, and those two that are highlighted there, the first one, hole 77, ended up being the 7th highest grade gold intercept reported in the world in 2021. Hole 159 ended up being number 16 in the world in 2024. So two impressive statistics to have there just on one target area in this district scale property. That's a slice through the maiden resource area, where we put that resource out in the end of 2021. We've approximately more than doubled the drilling there since we did that, and we're looking to update that resource in about May this year. We've got another few thousand meters of drilling there to make sure we've properly modeled this. We've got a very predictive and robust model there now, and we'll look forward to publishing that and then continuing to de-risk that and progress the study work. We've already got some metallurgy on that. We get very high gold and silver recoveries, 91 silver, 96% gold recovery, just using conventional flotation and cyanidation, the same as what we worked out for Palmarejo, just to the north of this. This just shows a bit of the locality and infrastructure that's around us. So there's no impediments to a future mining operation here. We've got good water supply opportunities. We've got the national highway just 20 kilometres to the north of us. We've got there's transmission power line along there. There's sub-transmission line 20 k's to the east of us, and the town of El Durazno. We've just optioned another property not far from there, from the same vendor, and we'll start to progress we'll do some LiDAR work and an aerial mag survey over that shortly, and we'll start to sort of have that as a pipeline project. But our focus is the 70 square kilometre Copperkin district. So a bit about the Ladura property. There was a high-grade mine there, 4 levels of workings, and so it does host very high-grade mineralization, and 20 square kilometres, and that will be a highly valuable addition to our small portfolio that we have. ESG-wise, we're not many people live in the district. There's no ejidos there, so there's no registered communities, but the people that live there, we employ 40 local people. They're very highly skilled, and we've got excellent support to taking this to progress this through to a future production. We get all our value-added tax back in Mexico, and that's an indication that we've got everything in very good standing in terms of corporate governance in our operations in Mexico. We got 5 years on our environmental permission to continue exploration work there, which we just had renewed in July last year. So what's next for the company? Well, we've got our Target 1 resource that I mentioned. We're looking to update that in the first half of this year. We've got some more drilling to do there, but we're expecting to get a very attractive, high-value, high-margin resource there at that first target area. We've just started drilling Target 3, which is a very similar looking geologically to Target 1, so we're expecting at least a similar size sort of resource potential there, and we've just on our 3rd drill hole there, and so far that's looking good. And we've got an initial program of 3,500 metres planned there. Target 5 down the southwest, much lower elevation in the system, more silver rich and some base metals there, but that's now developing into being a very high potential for high-grade silver and base metals in that part of the district. A different type of mineralization, more intermediate sulfidation, but still giving us a lot of information to see what is underneath as we go further to the west, where the topography gets higher in elevation. And then the big prize there will be drilling some of the district-defining structural targets. So we know that all those surface workings and indeed the drilling and the resource we have there, that's really just noise as to what's created or responsible for that widespread gold and silver mineralization. So we're flying an aerial magnetic survey over the district. We just started that this week. And when we have that, that'll give us the final bit of information we need to start targeting some of these district-way defining targets in the district, and that'll then enable us to demonstrate that we can see we've got a large district scale property, much like Palmarejo has ended up being to the north of this. So we're developing this as from the technical roots upwards and demonstrating that this is indeed a large scale district potential. There's high margin ounces, so it'll be a very low cost, very profitable tons of rock. We're looking at anything I've looked at over the years to put into production. I want to have at least an 18-month payback. This will be considerably less than that on this Target 1 resource alone. We've got good expertise and leadership in the company, and that we've had a lot of experience with this type of deposit, and in particular in this region of the world. Very tight capital structure, as I mentioned. 41% of our stock is held by global mining institutions, and very tightly held, 83% holding top 100 holding 83% of the stock. And most importantly, it's high-grade gold and silver, and this is a district scale property. Thank you.